Alright, what is going on, guys? My name is Leo Master. Welcome back to another Overwatch League video. And today, guys, I'm bringing you guys a first Dream Team video. And before we go on, I obviously want to say this is heavily inspired by ATP's little Dream Team series he started kind of like in Season 2, if I'm sure. Maybe Season 1, if he did do that. I've noticed he's been doing these videos for a while now. I've always kind of wanted to do them too. But I never really wanted to do them until now, I feel like, because I wanted to do a little twist on him. You know, he's been doing the Dream Teams, ATP has, but no one's really done a substitute Dream Team. Yes, people kind of talk about it occasionally, like, hey, what team would you make based off of subs? So I'm kind of doing that with this video, looking at teams, looking at their sub players and making a team out of that. And also I'm only picking one player from each team and not multiple, because if you look at Atlanta Reign, you can make a whole other Overwatch League roster out of Atlanta Reign's other 6, which is Pogbo, Fried, with Sharp and Erster, and also Kodak and Fire. So before we go on, I do want to do a little recap once again. This is inspired by ATP's Dream Team series. To start it off, we're going to talk about the DPS, then the second is going to be tanks, and then the last is going to be supports. The first start off, we're going to talk about our hits gain DPS, and our hits gain DPS is going to be DM on the Shanghai Dragons. Now, DM occasionally does play for the Dragons every now and then, occasionally, not a lot. So I think that kind of shows as a sub player. He doesn't really play mainly on, like, you know, Fleta and all of them on the Shanghai Dragons. So I think DM all around, and just in general, hits game players was very hard to find a good substitute. I went down to Sharp, Saya player, and DM, and then I've already had another Atlanta Reign player picked on here, so that gets rid of Sharp. We haven't really seen Saya player perform this season because BQB's been out of this world crazy on hit scan rolls. So I chose DM at the end because DM does play occasionally. He's still pretty good all around. He hasn't been as insane as Season 2, but he's still pretty good. So if as a sub, I think he's good enough to be on another roster. So I'm going to pick him as my hit scan as my substitute Dream Team. Now, as my flex DPS, projectile, whatever you want to say, it is the Atlanta Reign player, Erster. So this is the one I chose instantly. I don't care about anything else. Obviously, Pogba was there, and you obviously had Sharp. But I still feel like Erster is one of the best players on Atlanta Reign. But who knows what the issues are behind the scene, because Erster should be starting for the Atlanta Reign, but he's not. He's occasionally playing for the Atlanta Reign, kind of like DM, occasionally. It blows my mind that like a player like Erster is a bench player right now. But if I was definitely going to sign him on a team, it would definitely be Erster as well. So you already have a pretty strong DPS line with DM and Erster. You could add that DPS duo anywhere and be a top team instantly with this DPS duo. Now onto my main tank. This one also took me a while to find like the hit scan. So I ended up deciding on 2, and the 2 was either going to be Stam 1 or Super. And we already have our Shanghai Dragons player, so it's going to be Super on the SF Shock. He also plays occasionally, which I still think Super is insanely good as a main tank. He's still a sub though. Smurf is like their main kind of tank player, like the main player for the tank role as a main tank. That's a lot of main and tank in the same sentence, but you guys know what I'm saying here. Super occasionally does come in if they're going against probably a weaker team, or if there's a meme game, kind of like the Washington Justice, where you got to play ball and Sigma and all that. I think Super all around is still a great main tank player. He's probably going to stay on the Shock no matter what, but as a sub, he's insanely good. One of the better main tanks out there still as a sub. Now onto the off tank. There was a decent amount of options, but I chose one that is still pretty strong, but we also haven't seen in the Overwatch League because he is a full-on sub. It is Bianca on the NYXL. Now, Bianca was rumored to join Dallas early this season, as much as I would want that still today. But Bianca, insanely good from his XL2 performances. Obviously we knew he was going to be benched with this season because of how good Hoppa is, but I think Bianca all around, if he was going to go onto a different team, he would probably change that team a little bit as well for how good he is. And I think all around Bianca is a good off tank to start off as a substitute on my dream team, I guess you could say. Now my off sport, another hard one to really find, and the 2 I brought down to were Coldest and Boombox. And to be honest, I didn't want to give you guys a fake answer. I did want to choose Coldest, but that was all based off of public opinions, which obviously the public's opinions are that Coldest is insane. They want to see him be integrated in the Hangzhou Spark. I haven't really watched him that much. I watched the one map he did play in the Overwatch League, which I thought it was great, but the off sport I chose was Boombox. I've seen more Boombox than Coldest, and Boombox is a sub now. He's not really playing at all this season. Occasionally he has played against the Vancouver Titans recently, and they did win, but I think Boombox is still pretty average of a off-sport player that could do good on another team, make him play mainly, but that's really it. Obviously, Coldest is great. He's probably is better than Boombox, but I haven't really watched the Chinese contender scene as well, so I didn't want to give you guys a really fake answer if it came to me picking Coldest. Now onto my main support, and my main support is going to be Slime on the Soul Dynasty, and yes, he is a sub if you guys have not been aware of that, if you don't watch the APAC games, which I have gone back and watched almost many APAC games, and Slime has only really played one map, and I remember watching his debut game live, and it was still good, but Toby's obviously their main support player. They're always going to use Toby no matter what. No matter how many main supports they sign, they're still going to play Toby. Which Slime, still good. I love seeing him go into another team, honestly, because he's definitely starting worthy of an Overwatch League player, and it's sad to see him as a bench player right now. Maybe they'll integrate him in the roster later, a little bit this season, but who knows? We're kind of halfway there now, almost done with the season, it feels like. So Slime, I think all around he's a great player. He is a bench player, unfortunately, but yeah. So that's going to be it with all my 6 players. If you guys want to see what they would look like on an Overwatch game, here it is. I did all the Photoshop here with DM, Urster, Super, Bianca, Boombox, and Slime. And like I said, you can't choose multiple players on the team. If so, I'll probably pick the entire lane of Rain and find a different off sport. But all around, this team right here, I think this team definitely would probably go into the playoffs, in my opinion. I don't know what coach would be there. I would let that decide on whoever, org would want to own this, obviously. But I think you have a really strong DPS line, a really strong tank line. But I think the questions is kind of like in the support line. Is Slime still going to be consistent? Is Boombox alright? Because there's not that many substitute players right now as an off sport, at least that I could really find. Because obviously London Spitfire kind of does a rotation with Hylie and Krillin. I was really looking at them a lot, but I was like, no, it's not really a full-on substitute, kind of like Boombox is. And like all these players on this roster is really substitute or bench players, kind of. Urster's not been playing that a lot. DM is playing occasionally, not a lot. Same thing goes with Super. Bianca hasn't played at all. Boombox has also played not that many games. He's basically a bench. And Slime has also been on the bench as well for this whole dynasty. So I think all around, this team is pretty good. And it also depends on what coaching staff they had. If they had Krusty, this would probably be a top 3 team for sure. But it also depends what kind of coaches you have. What would be your substitute dream team, guys? Down in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys are thinking of who you would pick. Would you have a different, main tank than mine? Obviously, it's all your guys' opinions who you would choose. Anyways, guys, that's going to be for me. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to join my Discord down below. Also, don't forget to follow my Twitter and my Twitch. And don't forget to hit that bell. And don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below. And I'll see you guys on the next one.